In addition to the other books that I've read for the readathon, I did want to mention A Life with Ghosts. Now, this is borrowed from my public library. I enjoyed the read, and yes, I am good with library books. Although I may write and highlight in my own books, I am always careful with library books, and I use the little tabs to make note of things. When I first mentioned this book in my library haul video, on the inside cover it says, Steve Gonsalves, already considered to be one of the top paranormal investigators in the world, and a pioneer in the industry, now presents his debut book. To me, that just screamed ego, and I wasn't quite sure about what this book was going to be like. I have to say, it was a very enjoyable read. It is not someone with ego, or he certainly doesn't come across that way in the pages. I realized afterwards I hadn't heard of him because I have never seen Ghost Hunters. I don't watch ghost shows on TV. In fact, I don't even watch paranormal investigators on YouTube anymore. I've recently left over 30 some odd channels. There are I could count on one hand the channels that I continue to watch, but that's a whole other video. In this case, with Ghost Hunters, the one name I do know is Jason Hawes. And part of that's because the whole drama-rama bugaboo with his daughter and everything to do with the Conjuring house. I mean, it's just a mess. That type of drama-rama is why I've left so many paranormal YouTube channels. I'm not on YouTube to get caught up in drama-rama. I have no interest in watching someone reading somebody else's Facebook post. It's just not my thing. If other people enjoy that, that's fine. I just personally have no interest in it. So I have gone back to reading books. And I very much enjoyed this. I was definitely wrong about ego. He talks about true, terrifying, and insightful tales from his favorite haunts. So he shares about different locations he's gone to. He talks about having met Ed and Lorraine Warren, going to do an investigation in a cemetery where they had gotten permission from the police prior to going in, so the police knew there would be people there. I think that's very important when you're going to a location, whether it's a cemetery house or an old business. I always have my notes. As I was reading this, I was making some notes, and I did put down, depends, may be worth the purchase. I was only a little way into the book at that point, but I really enjoyed the way this author was talking about things. I was almost halfway done at that point. I like that he stressed about getting training, doing your research, getting your facts correct. Those are all very important things. He mentioned that his interest in the field began when he accidentally ended up watching The Entity as a kid. I ended up reading the book. My interest in the paranormal had to do with some personal experiences and just looking for answers. The Entity certainly made me curious as well. I very much appreciated when he shared about his friendship with Meatloaf, who I enjoyed his music. I grew up listening to him, but Meatloaf had gone on an investigation with them, and his important thing was to talk to entities, spirits, ghosts with respect. Think about, how do you want someone to talk to you? And be realistic. You're walking into where they are, not the other way around. So would you walk into someone's home and be rude and belligerent and, come on and do your thing? Of course not. So I very much appreciated having that point stressed. He talks about when they were doing an investigation in Gettysburg, because most of the book is about his time on Ghost Hunters and his other shows and what went into all of that. And I really enjoyed that he mentions with Gettysburg, as well as some of the other locations, they didn't just go there for a night and a few hours. They were there for an entire week. So there was a lot of time, a lot of filming. No, it wasn't a 10-part series from one location. I appreciated him stressing they were there for a week, because honestly, to just go to a location for one night for a few hours, you're not going to find anything. I'm sorry. But if the paranormal were that easy to catch, do you not think that over a century plus of people trying to find evidence, there would have been something by now? On YouTube alone, and that's only the channels that use the hashtag, there are over 69,000 channels. A one and done, I'm sorry, is not going to lead to any evidence of the paranormal. That's the other reason I left. Again, if you're watching it just for entertainment, then that type of an investigation makes sense, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're seriously pursuing something for answers and hoping to come up with something about the paranormal, then those one and done, pay a couple grand to stay at the most haunted location, isn't how it's going to happen. That's just my biased opinion. Another very important point made by this author has to do with Myrtle's plantation in Louisiana. Apparently, there is this story about Chloe, a slave girl, and horrific things happened. However, as the author mentions, doing research, looking into the history, they could find nothing. It seems to be made up. That certainly isn't the only made up story out there with these most haunted pay to come investigate locations. And there's an excellent quote on page 260. Fiction spreads faster and stains deeper than the truth. So to try and find some of those answers takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of research. When you have the owners of various locations perpetuating the myth, it doesn't help. I mean, it's understandable. They're trying to make money. It's big bucks to go to these locations. If you're looking for the honest truth, don't be gullible, don't be naive, and don't believe something just because so-and-so said it was a fact. You need to check things out from more than one source. And I say that whether it's with ghosts or any other subject and books I've talked about. The final point that I want to make about this book right now, at the end of the book, this author finishes with, he hopes that you enjoyed what he had to share, and he understands if people don't believe it, because even for him, if he isn't at the location and he hasn't seen it himself, he's not likely to believe it, which I found rather humorous considering he's, been on TV, he's done this for decades, his various experiences, but he's a very much, he needs to see it to believe it type of individual. So I thought that was rather cute. As I said, this is an enjoyable read. I will definitely be purchasing my own copy of this book in the future. It isn't one I'm likely to find at the thrift store, so it's going to have to wait for a little bit. But that's okay. I'll make note of the pages that were important to me, and then I can return this to the library for someone else to enjoy. I see down below this has been a bit longer than I thought, so I don't think I'm going to add it to the end of my spooky, scary readathon wrap-up. I may end up having this as a standalone video or a brief addendum. We'll have to wait and see. Until next time, remember, if a door in your house is rattling, it may have to do something with a breeze going through your house or maybe a train going by not far away. It isn't always a ghost. Take good care.